Now listen to that amazing tune. That, ladies and gentlemen, is nostalgia blaring right at ya. And this is brought to us through the Top Racer collection, which aims to bundle the absolute classics that are Top Racer, Top Racer 2 and Top Racer 3000, with some slight updates and additions. And before you finish typing that sentence that started with a but, these games have always carried this name in Japan. But yes, in the West we knew these under the Top Gear branding, but that has taken on a new and no doubt more expensive meaning since, and now mainly serves to make us think back to better times in general.
Nothing to see here. Beautiful British engineering.
My personal history with these arcade races is rather limited. I did really enjoy the Lotus Turbo Challenge games that sort of evolved into this series, and I played and enjoyed the first game on the SNES, and its soundtrack has always stuck with me. The game has had a huge impact in Brazil in particular, and as such it's no surprise to see a revival of the series being handled by a Brazilian developer, QUBytes. After spending some time with each game, it's easy to get reacquainted with their appeal. What these games manage to do really well is offering a great sense of speed, which still holds up pretty damn well today. And even though this is one series, each installment feels quite different, so all three games are still worth playing in their own right. The first Top Racer is, unsurprisingly, the most basic, but offers a fun strategic element in fuel management. When do you go for a refuel and for how much? Misjudging this can easily cost you the race. Unlike the other two games, this one also sees you select one of 4 cars for some variation in performance and aesthetics. Something that has personally always bugged me about this game is that it's permanently in a split screen mode, even in single player. No doubt to get around some technical limitations at the time, but I never enjoyed this, and the rival CPU doesn't add a whole lot to the actual game compared to all the other CPU drivers. Still, it was an amazing first outing for the series, and its actual gameplay feels most like those older Lotus games. And while all 3 games have good soundtracks, this first one is still a clear winner in that department for me. It's so catchy and in your face, I love it. The second game drops the 4 split screen in single player and provides a general graphical upgrade to boot. Unfortunately, it also kind of does away with the fuel management system. Technically, you can still run out of fuel, but you kinda have to really try. The ability to choose your ride has also been scrapped. Instead, there is an upgrade system which allows you to alter the performance of your vehicle in a more freeform way and give you an incentive to place as high as possible for some extra cash. Even more is found just sitting around on the road sometimes. It will be crucial too, as the new weather effects will be unpleasant with the wrong tires. It also introduces body armor, which will help mitigate slowdown and prevent complete spinouts when bumping into stuff. Quite interesting and a most welcome addition, as it's often nigh impossible to avoid everything coming at you at full speed, in part due to the frame rate not being able to keep up with the incredible pace these games provide. Something the third game increases even further, as it will sling you into the future. Mostly offering an upgrade over the second game, but adding some extra utility items other than the nitro boost found in all 3 games. There's also some more pickups and road effects on the tracks, and even alternate routes, which, I'll be honest, is quite impressive for what is basically an SNES game. Some routes may be shorter or offer some extra goodies. To help with fuel and armor management this time around, there are certain areas of the track that recharge these. There are also some special conditions to aim for during a race for some bonus cash for further upgrades. All 3 games feature a long and eventually pretty challenging campaign mode, as well as single race, time trial and custom cup options. Each game can also be played in multiplayer, in Top Racer 3000 with up to 4 players. This works fine locally, but as of the 8th of March, I have not been able to get any game going online to test this out, unfortunately. Something to keep in mind is that these are not full remakes. You are basically playing emulated versions. It is all packaged in a new menu system, which is shared across all titles. While this consistency is nice, it also takes something away from those originals, I feel, the menu tunes for one. The clean, modern presentation doesn't really fit well in my opinion either. This new packaging does allow for some new features such as save states. These can make running through the games a lot more forgiving, as you can save in between each race or heck, every lap even, instead of in between each cup. And of course there's some screen customization as well, all the way from an integer scale with original sprites to a widescreen fill with wobbly and tacky CRT filter for those true degenerates out there. Now QUBytes loves to sell you on an all new 4th game in the collection called Top Racer Crossroads. But let me just break that illusion here and say that it's basically a ROM hack of the first game with 4 new vehicles to choose from. It's neat, but a bit of an oversell to call it a 4th new game. With the recent resurgence of arcade racers, this collection comes at a great time, and these games can still teach many new attempts a thing or two of what a fun and fast-paced racer looks and sounds like. It's a shame the online play doesn't seem to function as of yet, as this would really help to set it apart from just emulating the games yourself, and would be great for enthusiasts to battle it out. The global rankings for the 143 or so tracks do work, so there's still some potential for competition at least. For those not familiar with this older style of racing games, this is a bit of a hard sell. Especially the somewhat jerky visuals at times can be quite jarring and I imagine downright unpleasant for some. There's also fairly little actually added to the games, which makes the asking price of $20 a little hard to swallow to be honest, and really only worth it for existing fans I think. But let me know what you think. Have you ever played any of the Top Gear games? As always, I'd love to hear and learn from your experiences, and thank you so much for letting me share mine. Hope to catch you again in another video soon. Until that time, take care and the muzzle!